Okay, so I am going to be reading Popol Vuh, part of it, for English class. This video is pretty much just for me, so I can put it on YouTube and then get it onto my iPod from there so I could listen to it while I sleep, since I have a test on it. But anyway, so this is just from my textbook, so it's like bits and pieces of it. It's just what they decided they wanted to put in the book. Okay, so Popol Vuh, 1554 to 1558. Oh, also, I apologize if I say things wrong, because I most likely will. There's lots of strange words in here. But a compendium of stories cherished by the ancient, the colonial, and even the modern Maya. The Popol Vuh of the 16th century Quiche people of Guatemala has been compared with the Odyssey of the Greeks and the Mahabharata of India. Such omnibus compositions, repeatedly mined by the artist and the moralist, serve as cultural touchstones. They dramatize the life of a nation and help bind it together. In the case of the Popol Vuh, as with similar works, the stories have been woven together to form an epic. Oh wow, I'm gonna restart this video because that was just like never mind, I'll keep going. In the case of Popol Vuh, as with similar works, the works have been woven together to form an epic, with threads of continuity that may be called novelistic. On account of this seemingly modern feature, rare in New World literatures, the Quiche book strikes non-native observers as the single most significant work of Native American verbal art, viewed from yet another perspective, focusing on its lofty account of world creation, the tribal origins. It has been called America's Bible. But if the Popol Vuh is comparable, it is also different. By Western standards, it might be judged too formal and at the same time too earthy. Derived from a a fascination with numbers, its formalism is expressed stylistically in the pairing, tripling, and quadrupling of phrases. Major characters, likewise, are paired, acting almost as duplicates of one another. Deities also are paired, occasionally tripled, with a strong suggestion that they are the same. The structure of the work itself is reiterative, fitted to a traditional pattern of 4 successive worlds or creations. The first 3 are said to have ended in failure. Our own is the 4th. Yet against this stately patterning, the hero gods appear as light-hearted boys, even as tricksters. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. I've been doing homework all day. Even as tricksters, their adventures from the ribaldry. That's supposed to say rivalry, shouldn't it? I don't know if that's a word, but we'll go with it. Ribaldry is not excluded, have a playful, anecdotal quality for the uninitiated reader willing to accept the juxtaposition of a sacred and the profane, the high and the low. An experience both rewarding and unusual lies in wait. Despite the best efforts of scholarship, the author of the Popol Vuh remains anonymous. It has been generally assumed that he is a man, because known scribes of the period are male, and with less agreement that he is a lone composer who uses the authorial some have conjectured a team of authors. Evidently, he is a native of the town variously called Atatlan, or something like that, Rotten Cane, or Quiche, political center of the pre-Columbian Confederacy that controlled most of the Guatemalan highlands. Inevitably, following the conquest of Mexico in 1521, Spanish imperialists cast its eye toward Guatemala, and in 1524, after a brief struggle, Quiche fell to Spanish and Mexican troops under the command of the red-haired conquistador Pedro de Alvarado, called the Sun by native people. By the 1530s, Quiche scribes, presumably including the Popol Vuh author, were being trained to use alphabetic writing. From internal evidence in the manuscript, coordinated with other records, the date of the Popol Vuh has been tentatively fixed at 1554 to 1558. In the text itself, the author hints at the existence of a certain council book, Popol Vuh, presumably a pre-Columbian screen fold that served him as the source. The 16th century Quiche were well acquainted, with books of this sort. Again, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Some dating from the classic period of Maya culture, 100 to 900 CE, which saw the rise of such imposing centers as Tikal, Copan, and Palenque. By the time of European contact, these important sites, abandoned in the mysterious collapse of Maya civilizations ca. circa 900 CE, lay in ruins, but Maya learning survived along the rim of the now depopulated central area, notably in southern Guatemala, among the Quiche and their neighbors, also in the northern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. As Mayanists have recently demonstrated, the old books do contain phonetic writing, but judging from the few examples that have been preserved, it is likely that even during the classic period, extended narratives were transmitted orally, with the picture-filled books acting only as prompts. The conclusion usually drawn is that the Popol Vuh is by no means a transcription of ancient screen folds, yet it no doubt borrows from them. Though not so indicated in the manuscript, the Popol Vuh falls naturally into 4 parts, as most translators have recognized. The first 3 attempts at creation, that is, the creation of humans, as compressed into part 1, saving the climactic dawning of the sun, preceding by the 4th, successful creation of humans for the opening passages of part 4. The first sunrise typically is the defining event in Mesoamerican chronology. Before it, the world is in darkness, or is lit by mere substitute suns. The Earth's surface, moreover, is said to be soft and moist. It does not harden until the sun finally comes up. During the dark or soft time, all things are possible. Thus, part 1, 2, and 3 of the Popol Vuh relate the events of the formative age. History, it may be said, begins with part 4. In the version printed here, the translator has chosen to set off the concluding passages of part 4, labeling the most recent phase of history part 5. The selections printed here were chosen to represent each of the 5 parts. As the author plainly states in the preamble that begins part 1, we shall write about this now amid the preaching of God in Christendom now. Admittedly, then, the Popol Vuh is a latter-day work, but the question of missionary influence is not easy to settle. Most critics have assumed that the account of the Earth's creation